Hi everybody. So this vehicle is a 2004 Ford Explorer, and I just installed a new alternator, and I picked this up on Amazon for about $180, and this is a Bosch. And I bought this alternator because I did some research online, and I found that Bosch was the OE supplier, or the Tier 1 supplier, for the alternator for this 4-liter V6 engine for Ford for these model years. So I thought, buying a new Bosch alternator, I'd basically be getting an original Ford part. So I'm a little disappointed, and I don't know if there's an issue with this particular alternator or if it's just a brand from Bosch. But the problem is that when I load the system up at idle, I'm having an issue with the lights dimming, basically going bright and dim when I have the system loaded up at idle. So I'll show you what's going on. Got my voltmeter hooked up to the battery, so let's turn that on real quick. And got 12.6 volts, so it's pretty good. And I'll show you how I'm setting up the test. Let me get the keys real quick. So basically starting the engine, and then to load it up, turning on the headlights, and I already have the brights on, so I get the high beams turned on. Also turning on the air. Let me turn this on. You can see it. Turn the air on with the fan all the way up on high. And then I'm turning on the interior lights so that I can watch this dome light up in the ceiling. So let's take a look really quick at what the voltage reading is. So it is charging. I mean, it's, right at about 14 volts. And here I'll show you what it looks like with all this stuff off, so we can prove it out. Let's turn all the lights off, fan off. And so it's doing its job. It's charging the system. Turn all this back on. Dome light. And now here's the kicker. Here's what happens. If I turn on the 4-ways, so the hazard lights, this is what the dome light does. And you can hear it in the blower motor also. And even sometimes the 4-way flashers sound like they're skipping a beat. So, okay, some guys say, well, that's because you're at, base idle. You're only idling at 600 and some odd RPM. You need to raise the idle so the alternator can keep up. Okay, so let's put the idle up. It's just called out about 1700 RPM. Now the hazards look like they've definitely flushed out a little bit. They seem like they're way more steady. Although I still hear that noise from the fan. And that dome light is definitely still flashing. So let's even raise it a little bit higher. Try and hold it at like 2,000 RPM. And that is still dimming. So let's take a look at the voltmeter real quick. And this actually has a function where you can do min-max. So turn that on. And now basically the meter is recording the measurements over time. So you see how it's fluctuating a lot. Well, this is actually making a record of it. What it sees is the highest number and what it sees is the lowest. So even though the screen can't refresh fast enough to show the voltage change as the lights blink from the hazards turning on and off, and from the headlights getting bright, dim, bright, dim, bright, dim, this is recording it. That should be long enough at least to give us an idea. So the max is 14.4, minimum 13.5, and there's the average. So, you know, to me, 14.4 to 13.5, that's almost a whole volt of fluctuation, simply because I turned on the hazards. And I just don't think that that's right. And of course, it's not just in the dome lights. If I watch these headlights right here, I mean, it's clear as day. You can see the headlights and the high beams dimming every time the four-ways turn on. And you can kind of even hear it in the alternator itself. So, there's one more thing I want to do, just to test this. Let's turn off the high beams. Okay, so I'm taking load off the system, and I'm still getting this dimming effect. So let's try and be a little bit more fair to the alternator. I'm going to turn off the AC. So no blower motor. The only thing I have on now is just the headlights and the four-ways. Okay, only one more thing to turn off now. That's this dome light. So let's turn that off. As a matter of fact, I'm even going to turn it all the way off so that dome light won't even come on with the door being open. Wow, now it's even more pronounced. Okay. Go back over to the meter one more time. And wow, look at that. The range going from 14.8 to 13.3. There's the average. So, okay, just to be fair, again, let me clear this recording. So that erases it. I'll turn it back on. Give it a fresh recording. see what the range is now. Yeah, it's still the same, roughly 1 volt. So my max 14.28, minimum 13.3. I mean, to me, this isn't really something crazy. I mean, you're just talking about having the headlights on as if you're driving at nighttime, and say you pulled over and turned on your four-ways. So, you know, that shouldn't be too much of an electrical load that this alternator can't easily keep up with it. So, all right, let's turn this back off. You know what, let's try it with the headlights off and just the hazards on. So now I don't have any lights to use to check with the dimming. We'll clear the recording. Turn it back on. Let's see what that is. 14.2, 13.4. So, yeah, that still stinks. It's still almost a whole volt. All right. Let's turn the hazards off. Clear the recording again. Now min-max it one more time. That's way better. So just sitting here idling, we're getting 14.08, so 14.1 volts to 13.7. So what's that, about 0.4 volts? So the four-ways have a huge effect, and I think it's because this alternator is not able to keep up. Now, there's probably going to be some comments about, you know, oh, you got to check the ground, you have to clean your battery terminals, and I've actually got separate videos about all that. The terminals have already been cleaned, the wiring's already been tested for voltage drop. I've already gone over every ground. I think there's something like 24 grounds on this truck. Got one here, got one there, got one here, one there, one behind there. There's one on the engine, one down at the starter. There's one at each of the A pillars, each of the D pillars. I've been over all of them. So there's one other little thing to mention about this, and this is where I think the real issue lies. So of course, right, we gotta wait till the end of the video to find out what I'm trying to tell you. But when I got this brand new in the Bosch box, the first thing I noticed was this alternator was not shrink wrapped. It was not securely packaged in the box. And it looks like someone, maybe in the factory, who knows, had taken this out and scratched the original label off of the alternator and then put this label on it instead. So you can see these like scratch marks right here where it looks like someone took a, you know, who knows, a screwdriver or a blade or something and just kind of scratched along there. There's definitely glue residue because if I touch it, it's sticky. And they stuck this Bosch sticker on it. The other difference is in the front pulley. So this pulley is basically, it's either anodized black or it's painted black. But the pictures online, both on Amazon's website and on Bosch's website, show it as a, more of a gold colored pulley. So I don't know for sure, but I think that's how they designate the difference between new and reman, is with the pulley color. So I don't know if possibly this was a reman that was relabeled as new, or potentially this was a knockoff that was relabeled as a OE Bosch. So I really don't know. I have tried 3 other alternators. I have the original one that came with the truck. That had a problem, which is why I got into this in the first place. And then I bought 2 other ones, one from Amazon that was really cheap, like $80, and that one gave me very similar results with the lights blinking. And then I tried an aftermarket reman that I got at the local parts store, and that actually worked great. And then I tried this Bosch and had this problem. So, yeah. Well, I guess if you have any comments or any thoughts on this, if you have any experience with these Bosch alternators, if you know why this pulley is black and not gold, if you know why this sticker was replaced, why was this scratched off and this label put on, what else am I curious about? Is this an original Bosch label, or is it a knockoff? Lots of questions. And actually, another really great question, is this normal or is this not normal? I think it's not normal. I don't think these lights should blink at all. I think even at idle, if Ford designed this engine to idle at 630, 650 RPM, and this is a 130 amp alternator, at least it's supposed to be, it should be able to output enough power at idle to operate all the accessories fully loaded without having the system bogged down. And I could understand if the battery was super old or in bad condition, but I've been using this on a regular basis for a long time, and the battery is not bad. And actually, I've recently tested it. And I've gone over all the grounds on this truck. We have no voltage drop, and plus, I've put a reman alternator in here and didn't have this problem. So I'm thinking there's something up with this. So, there you have it. Well, if you have any questions or any comments, please post them below. And thanks for watching. And, of course, if you like my videos, please subscribe.